Okay, good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Hope that you're doing okay. We have a great agenda in front of us, a number of different items, and we'll get right into it. What I'd like to do, there are a few new people around the room, and so what I'd like to do to start out is just to make sure that we all know who is here and what the roles and responsibilities are. So again, I'm Philip Berry. I'm the acting chair of the City University Construction Fund. I'll go to my left. And
I'm Benno Schmidt, the chairman of the board.
My name is Denard Cummings. I work for the New York State Division of Budget. I oversee the higher ed capital program for SUNY.
Marcella Maxwell.
Noel Hankin, trustee.
Gwen Common, Director of Capital Budgets at CUCF.
Don Farley, Special Assistant to the Budget.
Hi, I'm Nancy Nichols. I'm Special Assistant to the Fund.
Mike Stabulus, I'm Director of Construction for Dormitory Authority.
I'm Dana Sunshine. I'm the Assistant Director for Public-Private Partnerships at CUNY.
Welcome to
I'm Jeffrey Weinstein, Director of Procurement Services.
I'm Bob Lemieux, Executive Director of Design and Construction at CUNY.
Frederica Miller, Associate Counsel at CUNY, sitting in for Rick Schaefer.
I'm Howard Ultra. I'm the Deputy Executive Director for the Fund.
Iris Weintraub, Executive Director of the Fund.
John Antonelli, Director of Financial Compliance of the Fund.
I'm Kate Conway, faculty member of the University Faculty Senate and Observer to Construction.
Judy Berkman, Deputy Director.
Vincent Green, Director of Vendor Integrity and Investigations.
Megan Morwell, Director of State Planning for the University.
Good. Thank you very much. And again, I want to note a quorum. What I'd like to do first is to go to, there's nobody from Albany. Is that?
There's
except for Denard. Except for
Albany's
Denard,
in the
yeah.
house.
Yeah, so we don't have to, nobody else from Albany is what I meant. Thank you very much. So what I'd like to do first is to get the approval of the minutes.
I'll move it.
Is there a second to that? Any question or anything on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, thank you very much, it carries. What I'd like to do is to go to the first resolution item, and that resolution item has to do with the authorizing the...
Did we approve the minutes?
Yeah, we just approved.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
approve that? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I was reading.
Quick.
You're very quick.
So what I'd like to do is to go to the contracts for the authorizing the annual CUNY and CUCF Minority Women-Owned Business Enterprise Conference. So resolve that the Board of Trustees of the fund authorizes the Executive Director to execute purchase orders and/or contracts to provide event planning, advertising, website communications and related services, promotional items, and conference facilities labor support for the annual Minority Women-Owned Conference. Additionally, a portion of this funding will be used as sponsorship for the New York statewide MWBE conference. The cost shall be chargeable to the CUCF fund for an amount not to exceed $120,000, and of course it shall be subject to approval as deformed by the fund's general counsel. This came to us before.
It did, and as well as we reported last month on the statistics. And as you know, at the time we said that we were in negotiation with the governor's office about the conference and how it should happen. And so I'll hand it over to Howie, who's been the most involved with them.
We in our last meeting, we did bring a resolution to the board, but at the request of the governor's office, we didn't act on it because they are in the process of planning a statewide conference in October. Jeff, remember what day? Like the
Around the
15th? 25th. And they asked that we participate in that with them, which we have done. In the past, it actually was DASNY's conference. It's now become a statewide conference.
And then other authorities will be joining in, not just ASNY and CUNY, right? It's going to be statewide.
It's statewide. It's state authorities and agencies, and that will be held in Albany.
Yes, that's MTA, SUNY,
Right.
all of those other organizations.
Right.
And that's,
Battery Park City Authority, anything that's an authority or
The
like...
Buffalo Parking Authority.
Right.
Yes,
As well, right. So we have pledged a portion of funding to support that effort, which is included in this. In our discussions with them, we raised the issue that a lot of our, or MWB vendors who we deal with, generally are located around the city area, and from our experience in prior conferences that we've held, many of the vendors who come to our conference target specific activities at the conference. A lot of people come and spend the whole day, but some people come only for specific activities, and in part because they're still running their business. It makes it very difficult for them to go to the Albany conference is going to be for 3 days. They can't really get away. So we've had conversations with them, and we raised the concept of doing, besides the Albany conference, of doing regional conferences, one here in the city, and possibly one in Buffalo, which they agreed was a good idea, and proceeding. We've agreed to be the local regional sponsor for that. And right now, we're looking at doing that in the spring, probably when spring break is on, because we'll most likely do it at John Jay. And in the interim, in the area is the Competitive Edge, which is a conference that the Port Authority and the NPA are sort of the major sponsors for. And that's
August.
August, right?
Yeah.
And we participate in that as well. So what this resolution will do for us, it will give us the authority to sponsor the statewide conference, hire vendors who do event planning, and some database management for us, so we make sure we get our invitation out and our message out to the broadest spectrum. And it'll allow us whatever other fees we need that might not, because of the dollar value, need to come to the fund, but we're factoring in.
Any other questions on this particular item?
How do you get the word out? Do you email the registrants? How do you do it? Previous registrants?
We email, we take ads out. We have
Contacts with other organizations, and also working through the state's ESDC, the Economic Development Corporation, which oversees the MWB program. So the word gets out pretty far and pretty deep.
Do you advertise in the newspapers?
We do.
The Amsterdam, the black newspapers?
We do usually the Minority Commerce Weekly, as well as the major public dailies like the New York City Record.
News?
Excuse me?
Heard of Carib News?
I have not, no.
May I give you a list?
Sure.
Thank you.
You know, Noel, to be honest with you, we're a little disappointed. The last couple of years that we've done this conference, it's been a resounding success. I mean, there have just been, hundreds of contractors who have attended. Last time we had 600 people. So
Yeah, I was there last time.
Yeah, but
we're a little disappointed,
I couldn't walk.
that we couldn't do it again, but we're hopeful that, working with the governor's office, that they'll let us do this regional meeting in the city. And I think we keep all of our lists, the dormitory authority, and ourselves, and Port Authority, and the NPA, will get a good showing.
Now, where is it going to be, the physical?
John Jay.
most likely.
John
It's
Jay.
easier than, okay.
The original,
Garages.
originally, we were planning to do it, you may remember, in August at John Jay.
Right.
But at the governor's office request, we're now going to do it in the spring. And we'll probably still be at John Jay, but
We'll have to pick the week that they're on spring break,
Yeah.
like we did with the Scott conference, because we can't dominate, their classrooms, while classes are in.
I'm glad you're going to Buffalo in the spring.
We're not going to Buffalo.
No, but I mean, what did you say about
Buffalo?
Buffalo?
We're not going to
No,
Buffalo. They're going to be a regional
There'll probably
meeting.
be a regional conference.
In the spring?
Somebody will go.
No, we're in the spring. I'm not sure when they're going to do that.
Okay.
We'll strike that sectarian comment from the agenda. So we'll keep that on the minutes. Is there any other questions on this particular item? Is there a motion to approve? Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, it carries. Thank you very much. The next is the resolution of the, for the fund authorizing a contract for hospitality consulting services. So resolved that the Board of Trustees of the fund authorizes the Executive Director to execute a contract with Cushman Wakefield, Inc. for hospitality consulting services to evaluate the property located at 28.02 Skillman Avenue, Long Island City, Queens. Use. The project cost shall be chargeable to the university funds for an amount not to exceed $100,000 for Phase 1. And it shall be, of course, subject to approval as deformed by the fund's general counsel. And this is also an item that we spoke about earlier, and so maybe we could just talk
Sure.
about.
So just very briefly, we're exploring, we have a number of hospitality programs at CUNY. There's a program in Kingsborough, there's a program at New York City Tech. And we are exploring expanding this area of study. And one of the things that is preferential if you're going to run a major program like this is to have your own hotel to work with. And we're lucky here at CUNY because we have land, which we could begin to talk to developers about partnering with us. If the board will remember, we had gone out with an RFP to hire a firm to help us to first explore whether this is feasible and what type of RFP for acquisition we should go out with. There were 3 bidders in the RFP process. The committee selected Ernst & Young. We found it impossible to conclude negotiations with them. And so the committee went back to the next highest rated firm, which is Cushman & Wakefield. And we would like to get the approval to move ahead with the contract. At the end of this process, we will either get a thumbs up or thumbs down that this is a doable project. And then the next phase would be to go out with the full RFP to figure out who should partner with us to build this hotel. So that's the long and short of it.
And before we have more discussion on the item, let me, since this did come before us on May the 3rd, so let me read the corrected resolution that we will use to move this particular item before we ask for a motion. So the motion I'm asking for is resolved that this resolution supersedes and replaces the resolution adopted at the regular meeting of the trustees that was held on May 3rd, 2012. Item number 4 for consultant contract for the subject project with the firm of Ernst & Young LLP.
So moved.
Okay. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Quick question.
Yes.
What was the objection Ernst & Young had to the contract, just out of curiosity?
My belief is that at the end of the day, Ernst & Young made a business decision here that because whoever's going to help us construct the RFP cannot then bid on the work that comes out of the RFP.
Okay.
I see.
So my belief is, although they've never said this to us, that they have reconsidered their position and they would like to be, if there is a next phase, in the next phase, to come in with a developer and be part of that development team. So that's why we couldn't come to a resolution regarding business terms and enter into a contract. Can't blame them for it. I mean, they're trying to do the best business for themselves.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Okay.
And we got, Howie's right, we got to save some money because Cushman.
Any other discussion on this particular motion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. I don't know, there's some BlackBerry or something. Anything that's on the table, maybe. If we can just check.
My pacemaker.
Is I'm sorry about that. Your heart is beating. Okay, so the next is the resolution. This is item number 4, the resolution of the fund authorizing the Hunter College Weill Cornell Medical College Agreement 2128. And so resolved that the Board of Trustees of the fund authorize the Executive Director to undertake a public-private project with Weill Cornell Medical College for the acquisition by CUNY on behalf of Hunter College for a full research floor at the new 18-story medical research facility being constructed by Weill Cornell at 413 East 69th Street. And also resolved that we authorize the execution approval of all agreements and the taking of such actions in connection with the project, including approval of the condominium documents of the WC Research Building, execution of acquisition documents for CUNY's acquisition of the Hunter Research floor as a condominium unit, approval of zoning variance documents to allow Hunter College personnel to operate at the WC Research Building, also execution of joint venture documents in connection with the joint application by grants for WC research programs and any other related documents, and also be it resolved that the fund hereby ratifies, confirms, and approves any of the foregoing matters that have been done or before the date hereof.
So exactly a year ago, we came to this board with a letter of intent to start negotiations with Weill Cornell. Exciting project, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, it is.
We have been desperately trying to find science space for Hunter. Weill Cornell is constructing this 18-story building, which is going to be pure research science for the university. And they approached CUNY because, quite frankly, they didn't have all the money to finish out the building. And they came to us to see if we were interested in buying some space for our Hunter research operation. We have been spending the last year negotiating the deal. We are now close to finalizing that deal, and that's why we have come to the board to get final approval. Let me just say that, you know, along with the next project that you'll hear about, there are some very exciting things happening for Hunter now regarding both new buildings, new opportunities, and new venues for science. So we're just, you know, thrilled by this prospect, not only because of the physical advantage it's going to give Hunter, but more so because of the collaboration between the two faculties of Weill Cornell and Hunter regarding research.
Yeah. I mean, with all of the healthcare-related issues that are going on in the city, consolidation of hospitals, more attention to healthcare issues, it's great for us to establish our footprint in this area.
Yep, no, it's great. And, you know, there are aspects of the building that we'll be able to share in. There'll be a vivarium in the building. There'll be a lot of very advanced science research.
What does that mean?
A vivarium is we hold animals. I only learned about that 5 years ago. So anyway, it's really going to be a collaboration between both universities to work together. So we're very excited.
That's
about
good.
this.
Vivarium.
Yeah, vivarium.
Mr. Chairman, there was
Maybe
great
it's an
pride
SAT
that I
word,
moved
I
this
don't know.
Is there a second?
I have a quick question.
Yes.
How would you assess the cost that we have to pay for this floor? Is it in line with other
Good
science?
question, because I knew someone would ask this. We did an appraisal, and 2 appraisals, Don reminds me, and we came in right on the money. And remember, this is advanced science construction, and as
Right, it's very
Bob will tell you,
Yeah.
very expensive building.
More so than the science and technology building at Medgar Evers, I suspect.
Yes,
Different levels.
probably comparable to ASRC of the City College, but clearly, you know,
Right.
remember, at Medgar Evers, we only have 27 research labs. The rest of it is instructional science. So, yeah, this is very expensive property.
Any other questions on the item? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? The next item, and it has several parts from the standpoint of a resolution, and also we have a presentation with it. So I'm going to.
We'll do the presentation first, if that's okay with you.
I think that makes sense, and then we can do the resolution. Thank you. You can explain.
Yeah, so let me just say that for the last 10 years, CUNY has been in search of land to be able to build a new science building for Hunter. And we thought we had a deal a few years ago with the City of New York regarding the JREC site, which is a Board of Ed site on East 68th Street and 2nd Avenue. That deal fell apart, and a couple of years ago, we hired a real estate consultant firm to search out, within a wide radius of the Upper East Side, a plot of land that we could build a new Hunter Science building. We anticipated that we were going to have to build anywhere from the 300,000 to a 500,000 square foot building. Quite honestly, the consultant came back with no site that we could easily acquire. I mean, we could have approached people who hadn't even yet put their property up for sale, but the cost would have really been astronomical, not only to the university, but to the college. Last summer, we were approached by Sloan Kettering. The city was about to put out an RFP on a site on 73rd Street and the FDR Drive. It was a site that, as Dana will take us through, was originally going to be a sanitation garage, but the city didn't have the money to build the sanitation garage. So they were looking for proposals that would give them the cash to pay for the garage as well as a site to build it, and maybe sort of work with some entity to give up, the city would give up 73rd Street. We partnered with Sloan Kettering on the RFP, and as a development team, we were selected. So having said all that now, I'm going to turn it over to Dana, who's the Deputy Director of Public-Private Partnerships, and she'll take us through this rather complicated deal that we're about to enter into between Sloan Kettering, CUNY, and the City of New York.
Okay. So first, I'm going to take you through a brief history of the Hunter Science and Health Professions Project. The project primarily grew out of Hunter's 1999 master plan, which found the current science facilities both at Hunter's main campus at East 68th Street and their Brookdale campus were outdated and inefficient and would be costly to modernize due to the age and configuration of the buildings. The project took on momentum in 2005 when the Chancellor declared 2005 to 2015 to be the decade of sciences at CUNY. Various sites for a new Hunter Science building have been explored and currently a former city sanitation garage site. Today, Hunter Science programs are dispersed across 3 campuses. The North Building, located on Hunter's main 68th Street campus, the Brookdale campus, located at First Avenue and 25th Street, and the new Silberman School of Social Work and CUNY School of Public Health at 119th Street and 3rd Avenue. On Hunter's main 68th Street campus, the North Building was built in 1937 and houses Hunter's School of Arts and Sciences. Due to the age of the building and the demanding infrastructure requirements needed to support advanced science instruction and research, it has been determined that the building cannot be retrofitted to expand the science programs. Hunter's Brookdale campus houses Hunter's schools of nursing and health professions. The 3-building complex was completed in 1952 and is a total of 527,000 square feet, of which 100,000 square feet are utilized by the health professions programs. The facilities have inefficient space configuration and mechanical constraints which do not allow for proper program delivery. Brookdale also suffers from its location. Being so far from the main campus makes it difficult for students majoring in the sciences to manage core curriculum and degree courses. The 1999 master plan recommended construction of a new science lab building for Hunter's growing programs. This new science lab building would replace obsolete labs and classrooms and would be within walking distance of the main campus. However, the neighborhood where Hunter's main campus is located has some of the most expensive real estate in the city. Finding space for the new science and health professions building required a creative solution. The site that was initially identified as the best possible solution is at East 67th Street and 2nd Avenue. It's highlighted in yellow in the images on the right side of the slide. This is the current home of 6 City Department of Education schools known as the Julia Richmond Education Complex, or JREC. JREC is within walking distance of the main campus, shown here in black. This proximity would have avoided duplicating key support spaces. It also would have provided Hunter Sciences with opportunities for collaboration with renowned medical and research institutions located on the Upper East Side. The public-private project involved using the Brookdale campus site as a bargaining tool in a land swap with the Department of Education. A private developer would acquire Brookdale and build facilities for the JREC schools, and state funds would be used to build a new Hunter Science building at the current JREC site. An RFP was issued in 2007, and CUNY began negotiation with several developers. However, in 2009, the project stalled. In addition to the many layers of complexity which made the project challenging from the start, the political climate changed, and several local groups and elected officials wavered in their support of the project. CUNY was encouraged to look at other options. In May of 2011, the New York City Economic Development Corporation issued an RFP for the redevelopment of a sanitation garage at 525 East 73rd Street between York and the FDR Drive. Funding for a new garage on the site had been eliminated, and the city was looking for creative ways to identify resources for a new garage. The RFP called for responses from healthcare, education, or scientific research institutions. The city preferred that the garage be developed on the site along with the other uses. However, it left open the option to develop the garage off-site so long as it remained within the districts it serves between 14th and 96th Streets. Memorial Sloan Kettering reached out to CUNY, and the two groups jointly responded to the RFP. The CUNY Memorial proposal to acquire the site includes the development of up to 1 million square feet on the East 73rd Street site and the relocation of the sanitation garage at Hunter's Brookdale site. Memorial is providing $215 million in cash to purchase the East 73rd Street site, and CUNY is providing 400,000 square feet of land at Brookdale for the relocation of the sanitation garage. At 73rd Street, Memorial plans to build up to 700,000 square feet for an outpatient cancer treatment facility, and CUNY plans to build an approximately 300,000 square foot science building for Hunter. The site will need to be rezoned to accommodate the new facilities. As part of the transaction, Hunter must vacate the Brookdale site prior to the completion of the new building in order to accommodate sanitation schedule. Temporarily, the Brookdale programs will be moved into a renovated floor at LaGuardia Community College's Center 3 building. With this solution, CUNY will be maximizing its capital investment by creating space that LaGuardia will inherit once Hunter vacates for the 73rd Street site. We expect to sign a purchase and sale agreement with the city this summer. We are also in the process of negotiating an MOU with Memorial, which outlines the roles and responsibilities of each party with respect to the deal. Architects for the swing space and East 73rd Street site will be announced shortly. We expect to start design and environmental studies this summer. By 2013, we expect to complete our environmental review of the property and to enter into the public approval process seeking an upzoning of the site. By 2014, we expect to close on the acquisition of the East 73rd Street site. By 2015, Hunter's Brookdale programs will be relocated to LaGuardia. Depending on when the funds are appropriated by the state for the full construction and fit-out, Hunter could be in its new building as early as 2019.
Well, does CUNY and Memorial together select the architect for the building?
Yes.
There'll be one architect for the whole building.
One
He'll do
architect.
both
Yes.
parts of it. And these are going to be life science related labs for the most part?
For
Or-
Hunter?
Yeah.
Actually, we just have started conversations. There'll be life science, but also research. They want to put research labs in this building.
But probably around life sciences,
Yes.
since that's what goes on the east side there?
Yes, yes.
Is the Brookdale where the students with the dormitories at one time?
Yes, and that's one of the issues. Hunter will have to give up its dorm at Brookdale and to relocate somewhere else in the city of New York. Now, a number of developers have come to see us as of late with sites in Manhattan. So,
For dorms?
dorms, yes. So we are working with Hunter to try and move this along. But yes, they will have to give up their dorm. And I think the college is aware of that, and the trade-off for them is they want to get the sign. Let me just also say, because Denard is here, Denard was on the camera, I'd say it anyway. This project has not been fully funded yet, and DOB has been very generous to allow us to proceed, to be able to hire the architect, to do the environmental work, but CUNY is very much aware that this project has not been fully funded yet, as is both the city and Sloan Kettering aware that our building has not been fully funded. So we may get to a point, I hope not, but we may get to a point that just the foundations go in and we can't start construction yet. The schedule that Dana has up there is like in an all-perfect world if we're able to move ahead. But we're hopeful that, you know, we do a new 5-year plan and that we're able to get funding for this project. But we recognize, as of today, we don't have full funding for it.
An estimate of what the Hunter piece is likely to cost to build?
Yes. It's about $400 million. Now, we still have money left over. We were appropriated money for Hunter Science. We used a portion of the money to buy the Weill Cornell site. And what DOB has given us approval for is to take the remainder of that pot of money and to work on developing this site.
And the swing space is important.
Yes. And I have to tell you, I was very concerned about creating swing space, spending anywhere from $20 to $30 million in rental space, and then, you know, by 2019 having to give all that up. To me, that was a waste, and I have to say this alternative with LaGuardia I think is a good solution. And Hunter was very much willing to go to Queens, so I think it's a win-win for everybody. Hunter gets the swing space they need, and at the end, when they leave, LaGuardia is going to have some very nice built-out space in Center 3, which they can then use for their nursing program.
So they'll go across the bridge.
Exactly. One stop on the subway.
And there's some zone variances that are needed in order to accomplish
Yes,
this?
in order to accomplish all of this,
Yeah.
there are variances. There's a whole ULURP that the city will have to go through at Brookdale for the garage. There's a ULURP process that we're going to have to go through on 73rd Street.
Are we involved in the zone variance issues?
But we're not, at Brookdale, it's the city's obligation to do whatever they have to do to get the ULURP. The university is not involved. We just gave them the land and we said, it's your issue now to get the ULURP approved. We're just focused on 73rd Street.
Right.
The land that we are giving up on, what is the address?
There is a clause that talks about reversion if the university ceases to use the property for higher education. And although we don't totally agree with the city on the issue of reversion, we've acknowledged in this case we will revert the property. Wellington, this helps them, the city, because then they don't have to do a ULURP for acquisition. They only have to do it for use, so they don't have to do one ULURP.
Is there any way that CUNY can benefit by holding on to it through a 99-year lease?
Not really, because, you know, once a sanitation garage goes there, it's really of no use. And I think that one of the issues is what are we going to do with the rest of the parcel? We're giving the city 400,000 square feet. There's another 600,000 square feet that we're not giving them. And the question is, who would be interested in buying it and what would be the use for the university?
Is one of our partners the Hospital for Special Surgery? Because you're right in the back of it.
That's a different entity.
Oh,
But as a matter of fact, they have acquired a site adjacent to this site, and they will be building a new 12-story complex there as well. So there'll be a lot of activity.
On 73rd, between
yes.
The highway
and 74th and east of the York is going to come through.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
The reason I ask is because when this item came before the CUNY board, I think another trustee reminded me that, you know, in the industry, typically you try not to sell. And, you know, it's just like Battery Park City and Roosevelt Island is all, you know, and so if there any way the university can retain.
This is not selling,
Yeah.
but, you know, as Don will tell you, the law is sort of, there are issues about reversion and whether, you know, we have to give up our rights when we stop using it.
Okay.
We do have some legal differences with the city, but we're trying to make this project happen, so we're sort of putting blinders on, if you get what I mean. we're trying to be good soldiers here to get this project
No,
done.
that's great.
We're giving up something, but we're requiring something.
Right.
We're getting the land on 73rd.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
becomes University of Access.
That's good.
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to ask what our backup plan is right now.
Yes, there is a backup plan. The backup plan is to build at Brookdale.
Okay.
Now that we know that we have a swing space at LaGuardia, the backup is we would build the science complex at Brookdale. Is it optimal for Hunter? No, because it's too far downtown, but at least we own the land there and we could build.
So you tear the building down?
We would do exactly what we're doing now, except it wouldn't be, you would move them to swing space, demolish Brookdale, and build on the
Right.
site.
You have 1 million buildable square feet of space there.
So it's
It's between the FDR, it's that round, when you're on the FDR,
When you
it's
come
that
down
round
on
building.
FDR,
Oh, yeah, right.
Just south
go
of
to the,
Bellevue.
it's a health.
It's a nice
club there.
location.
These were the old Bellevue nursing facilities,
That's
those were
right.
dorms. That's what they originally were. They came to the city to CUNY.
It's a very complex
Yeah, it is.
project.
Back of the
A lot
Veterans
moving
Hospital.
parts,
Mhm.
but, you know, we're keeping our fingers crossed. And I have to say, Sloan Kettering has been a superb partner with us, and we will be announcing soon the architecture firm that we've hired.
That's great.
And just to let you know, Benno, we are going to have common design elements on the exterior of both buildings.
That's great. There are a number of components to this resolution, and I'll read it just so that all of the trustees are aware of everything, and then we'll move it after if I read it. Resolved that the Board of Trustees of the fund authorizes the executive director to undertake a public-private project, which I'll call from now on the project, with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, which I'll from now on call MSKCC, for the acquisition of vacant land at 525 East 73rd Street, and from the New York City Economic Development Corporation, which I'll call NYCEDC, and the development with MSKCC of the 73rd Street property, where CUNY would develop on its portion of the 73rd Street property their Hunter College Science and Health Professionals Building, which I'll call the building from now on. And be it resolved that the board authorizes the fund on behalf of CUNY to obtain all required land use approvals and governmental approvals for the development of the new Hunter College Science Building at 73rd Street, and be it resolved that the board authorizes the fund to accept all rights, title, and interest in the 73rd Street building, and be it resolved that the fund authorizes the executive director to expend state appropriated funds for the purpose of developing temporary space for the Brookdale campus programs and for the purpose of developing the Hunter College Science Building, and be it further resolved that the fund authorizes the executive director to execute a single source agreement in accordance with Section 2D of the fund's guidelines for procurement contracts with the architectural firm of Mitchell Gargula Architects LLP for the purpose of designing space for the Brookdale campus programs in the Center 3 building of LaGuardia College. And be it resolved, finally, that the fund authorizes the executive director to execute all agreements in connection with the project, including a contract of sale and any related documents with NYCEDC for the acquisition of the 73rd Street property, and a memorandum of understanding, a development agreement, and related documents with MSKCC or another affiliate of MSKCC for the joint development of the 73rd Street property, subject to approval as to form by the General Counsel. Can I get a motion? Is there a second? Any other questions or comments on any of this here?
Can I
Yes?
just point out just one thing? Mitchell Gergela will just be doing the design for the LaGuardia space, the swing space. They are not the architects. I just wanted to, they are not the architects who will be designing the new building.
Exactly, and that is as the resolution states also, and thank you for clarifying that. Yeah, no, I think that's good. That's why I wanted to read through, because there's so many moving parts to this. And Trustee Hankin, you have
Yes, is there an amount of money we're approving with this resolution? Because it seems that it's a little vague. I see some numbers on the next page, but that's not in the resolution.
that There's another, there's no monies associated with this.
Are we approving a certain amount of money to do this?
I think the answer is not at this time.
No.
Because we don't know fully yet what it's going to cost us to build out the LaGuardia space, because we haven't done an analysis yet. If you would like, we'll be happy to come back to the board.
Except if you look at the last paragraph on the page, it basically, these phases represent
Right.
cost approximately $54 million.
Mm-hmm.
And 450s, the 54 million is what is in the budget now, and I guess that's what we're asking for the approval to
So
expend.
between the architectural, the EIS, the ULUR,
Build out of
and the
space.
build out of the space, we expect that we'll expend the $54 million.
I see.
And then we're just the guesstimate at about the $450 million.
Understood.
For the new building,
Right.
because we
Hasn't
haven't
been
even
designed
designed it
yet.
yet.
Right. So shouldn't that be part of the resolution? The 54 million?
I don't think so at this time, but if there's a desire that definitely is the case, then.
What you're saying is that's all the money you have, so...
That's it, we only have $54
Okay.
million.
Move the point.
We don't have
Wait.
money to build the building, so
Wait,
That I know. All right.
I
it's
think
very clear to say we have no money to build a new building, so whatever it is, it is. We
I didn't
can't
realize
spend
it was so far away.
it's really what we want to do is to this really enables the executive, by moving on this resolution, it enables the executive director to go through all of the other due diligence pieces that we need to, and then as we begin to get more specificity, regarding monies and all, then we would bring back to the trustees approval for that. But right now it's kind of a resolution. Can we move ahead with this? Because there are so many other moving parts that haven't been approved yet, and we just don't want to at least slow down the machinations of the project based on us. So.
Yeah, there are many moving parts on this, but at the end of the day here, we will have the Brookdale people in swing space, so that in the event that this does not materialize the way we're currently planning it, we can go to plan B, where it makes sense.
Actually, either way, you'll need the swing space.
Right, that's right.
That's a very
And the
important
good
point.
news is that there is no money right now. I mean, so far we haven't lost anything by moving ahead, at least on the next step. Which would happen if we invested, if we put $45 million on the table. We don't want to do that yet. Any other questions on the resolution? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you very much. It passes. The next is and thank you very much, Dana, for that very detailed and thorough report. We really appreciate it. And I think also, just to comment on it, I think it's good that where it's possible, if we can have these type of presentations ahead of time, just to give us the full, complete picture, so that the trustees can move appropriately. Thank you very much for that, actually. Appreciate that. Resolution of the fund. The next is item 6, resolution of the fund authorizing additional payment of the design services contract for the design of CUNY School of Law at 2 Court Square, Long Island City. And so resolved that the Board of Trustees of the fund authorizes the executive director to execute an additional services payment of $65,000 to a design contract with the firm of Cone Peterson Fox Associates for additional design and construction administration services required for the new CUNY School of Law located at 2 Court Square. And the $65,000 payment will be chargeable to the State Capital Construction Fund project.
So the law school moved into their new building 2 weeks ago. The move went very well.
Good news.
They're
Good
starting to
news.
offer summer classes there. But with any large construction project, we found some conditions in the field that we didn't anticipate. And so KPF, who was the architect, was required to do some additional work. And it resulted in about $65,000 worth of additional work that they had to do on the building. And we're asking for approval to be able to advance that money.
And that's significantly, I think in November 2010, in fact, no, you were asking about certain items, just to make sure that we keep the progress going. So we approved a resolution and stating that it might cost $1.6 million with this firm. And so that's significantly less, a third of that particular money. So
Excuse me, do you mind giving me one small example?
One of the issues was that we built something called a beacon in the space. We hollowed out a portion of the space, and in the field, we discovered that we needed greater support than what we originally anticipated to hollow out that portion of the space. So KPF had to come back in with the engineers and figure out how we were going to do it. Second thing is, we have a rather complex fire system in the building because we do have a lot of open space, and so it required us to work with the engineers again to make sure that we met code and that, God forbid, there was a fire, there would be a system to shut off those parts of the building.
We did not need a fire escape.
No fire escape.
You have to isolate these fire stairs.
Oh, sure.
Right.
Through the fire-rated walls, and we built a 3-story atrium. It created a nice sense of space. It doesn't look. I mean, originally it was built as a straight office building. It now has a different flavor in terms of what it's meant for, and I think it really done.
So what basically happens now, God forbid there's a fire, shutters will come down.
Oh, really?
Yes, and so it was a little bit more complex.
Close it off.
Close it off. So,
Thank you.
and we have the temporary certificate of occupancy, and they're in there and
Very
enjoying
happy.
and loving the space. So
To get that was a...
this is a transformative space for Gloucester.
Mass transit to this location is spectacular.
Really?
One stop from Manhattan.
One stop, and there are like 6 trains that go there.
So for the minutes, this 65,000 is actually above the 1.6
Yes.
million, right?
Yeah.
Just so that we have that for the minutes.
I'll
Thank
move
you,
it,
Graham.
Mr. Chairman.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Thank you very much. And the next is a report
I'll
from
be
the
very
the
brief.
chair.
Let
Thank
me
you very
just-
much.
Let me just say that we're going to have a very busy fall, as Senior Vice Chancellor Richardson has tended. It's 5 in the fall. 5 new buildings will open this fall.
Bye.
Performing Arts Center. The building has been totally demolished. And we are very excited about the New York City Tech project, which is this brand new building in downtown Brooklyn for New York City Tech. And we've gotten approval from DOB to proceed with the building. And by the early winter, we will be demolishing the site that the new building will go on. So it's going to be a very busy both fall and winter for CUNY, Mr. Chairman.
No, that's great. I know that Trustee Hankin wanted to just get a little status on some items. When we get back together at the next meeting, the executive director can present just a status. Is there something additional you'd like in that?
No, not really. I'm not looking
Update.
to have anyone do more work than they're doing now. But if you, and I assume you have some kind of a status report that your department uses, just a simple chart with all these different projects we approved. I like to get a sense for how that progress is moving forward. I figured you have charts up in the wall.
And, yeah, and appropriate pictures.
Yes.
Yes, yes. Yeah.
So what are the 5 buildings, just quickly? That
Sure.
are opening?
Hidden Hall.
Which is going to be in September, right?
Yeah, we hope to open in September 10th. Bronx Community College, a new library. The new Lehman Science Building. The law school will officially open in the fall. And the new child care center at Lehman will open in the fall. The new community college, but that's lease space, so I don't sort of count that, but
So where possible, if you could just let the trustees know as they might want to attend, some of the opening
Absolutely.
ceremonies, and I usually like to be there if I can too,
Sure.
if they can let us know enough in advance so I can
Great.
work my travel schedule.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We were talking about the hospitality curriculum. Now, what's happening with New York City Tech? They had a program, I thought, many, many years
They
ago.
still do.
They still do. And
They're one of the preeminent
That's right.
cooking programs.
Right.
That's right.
Many chefs in the city of New York come
Yes.
out of that program.
Yes.
Porterhouse is one where the chef was
Yeah.
here.
They will be part
Lincoln-
of this hospitality study as well. Each of the presidents from the schools, from LaGuardia, Kingsborough, and New York City Tech, will be part of this process that we're putting into place.
Right. Now,
So,
at
yeah.
one time, they had, I think, a program where they trained maitre d's, and it was relationship with the Sheridan.
I guess so.
Have they
I don't-
expanded
I-
on that? Okay.
I don't know if they still have it, but they are the preeminent
They are the
hospitality
preeminent,
program
okay.
in the community system.
Thank you.
I was, the last meeting, there was some request to see some photographs of the, because we talked about the Night Grabbers pool opening, so I've got a couple I'd like to just show.
Sure.
Yes, thank you. And it's open now, right?
Oh, the pool.
That's what it looks like. If you look
Yeah.
in the back there, on the right is an elevator.
Yeah.
To the pool, and in the middle and the back is for handicapped people to be able to be. People being interested in, okay? It's a little picture of the pool though.
That's a good point, because that came up at one of the public hearings,
Yes.
just so that you know.
There's just a closer shot of that, that's the deep end of the pool there.
Wait,
You can use the button on the bottom, you will advance. No, on the next slide. Open the next slide, and then all you have to do is just click the button.
I'm a rookie at this.
Yeah, no problem. You see the
Oh,
arrow?
now.
Looking down
Oh,
to
it's
the,
not good.
except for the lower end of the pool, and you see the pool office in the back, okay?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that arrow there, yeah.
And it was, you know, that's opening it, and then just, that's what you saw as the pool, and there's a lot of stuff that supports the actions of the pool. It's a pool pack down in the basement that basically monitors temperature, what have you. All this was repiped down there, so it's not just what you see when you're in the pool in terms of what went into the project.
Yeah.
And just the pool pack shows you
Oh,
the
so it's a heated pool.
It's a heated pool?
It's a heated pool, yes.
Yeah, it's 81 degrees
Yeah,
there.
nice.
And it shows
Seems
you
pretty
temperature. So there's a lot of work behind the scenes that you don't
Yes.
see if you're in the pool. That all
So was the community, Mr. Chairman, I think,
Yes.
did we talk about something about the community getting a notice that the pool was there, or?
Yeah, I think there was, there was a,
Is it being used by the community?
It is, probably not as extensively as we would like, but we're hoping the word will get out, and once the summer program is there,
Yeah,
you know,
it'll be
more
good.
people will hear about the pool being open.
Okay.
The pool is totally rebuilt. It is.
I'm going to see it, yes.
It didn't look like this 3
No,
years
you're
ago.
telling
Yeah.
me that.
no, thank you very much, because we had a real
Reset.
problem. We had some setbacks there, so it was really good that we were on top of that. Thank you very much. Is that you doing a few laps? Okay. Mike, any other items to report? Mike, do you have some items to report?
Well, I just want to briefly, as Executive Director Boncho said, 3 of the buildings that we're working on.
I don't think they can hear you back here, Mike, I'm sorry.
Are trying to be open this fall, so we're working very feverishly to get those 3 working. That's the Union 5, construction building, and getting they're in the very final stages of construction. The other thing I thought might be of interest was the Section 3. You're continually doing work on that building. It's a very large building, probably the largest single building in Phoenix. I think it's around 900,000 square feet. We just completed a major renovation and upgrade to the elevator systems in that building. Interior renovations for the admissions and versus offices. We're working on a very large solar array that's going to go on the roof of that building.
Sorry, Mike, which building are you referring to?
That's the Center 3 at LaGuardia.
Okay.
That's the one we're going to use as swing space for the 100 project. We also have a glove plant upgrade. So just, there's also a lot of interior renovations planned for that building.
The old Cisco,
No.
this kid.
Yes, I know. you need a rollerblade to go inside the building.
One of the other major projects of that building is going to be a new facade restoration project.
Huge building.
Yeah,
It's a
very
huge
big.
building.
The
It's good.
facade on that building is $120 million.
Oh.
It's 880,000 square feet. Floor plates are 88,000 square feet. 80,000 square feet. Think about it. That's huge.
Yeah,
You need a roller skate.
yeah, that's for sure. Any other items, Mike? Thank you very much for that. That's a great progress report. If there are no other items, I will let you know when the next meeting is. I don't know if we're going to have another meeting this summer. I don't think so. So gosh, wish you a very happy summer,
So-
each and every one of you, with your families. Trustee
Fetterman is
Chen?
likely toward the end of the year?
Will open September.
It'd be September.
Okay. I'd like to be there. That one I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can pass by there too. I mean, you ought to just drive by there
I
just
walk
to see
by
the
there.
progress.
I
Yeah,
walk by there.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I often am there on tours.
Okay.
If you want to,
Sure.
I'll give you, next time I'm going, I'll give you a call and
Sure.
you can
Okay.
walk through the building with us.
Yeah, that'd be
Quite
good.
something.
Yeah.
Okay.
In my lunchtime, I can just walk over there.
Yeah. that's good. So, is there a motion to adjourn? And hope all of you have a joyous summer with your family and significant others.
And the Father's Day.
Happy Father's Day to each and every one of the fathers in the room and to myself.